Okay, so we're back at it on our next clip. Let's fast forward a bit to the draft. Not too sure which game it is. Oh, it's Samsung vs G2. Okay, now this is hype. It's very hype because if Samsung win this, G2 need to rely on Royal Never Give Up losing all their games today. They would have to rely on Fenerbahce losing, and then there would be a tiebreaker, and then G2 would have to go for it. Because RNG have one match now against Fenerbahce, which would put them at 4, and if G2 lose one match, there's no way for them to reach 4 wins, right? And then if Samsung win against G2, Samsung would then be at a 3-2, I guess, a 4-1 scoreline. Yeah, 4-1 scoreline. And then RNG and Samsung game wouldn't matter too much. So this is the clutch game. This is the main game that matters now, and this is the game that is the most important one. I'm super excited. I don't know the result. I think it's even over by the time I'm recording it. Let's see now what the draft is about. Boom, there we go. Super hyped. Let's see EU if they can continue. Samsung didn't look too hot against Fenerbahce, if I'm gonna be honest. You know, there was some slip-ups here and there, and eventually, like, Samsung's bot lane played very well, and I think they performed the best out of the enemy team. Kuve was also just like a split pushing robot that was just ended up being super fed in the end. Let's see now if Samsung are aiming now for the first pick Sejuani with the jungle bans. Maybe they just ban Sejuani third as well, and they just aim to first pick the Zaya here. I think in a case where Samsung bans Sejuani, instead they're going to flip it. Interesting. Question now if G2 should just ban the Sejuani here. Rek'Sai is open, and I think both junglers here are willing, but Sejuani ban against Ambition is the one. I think Ambition was the first one to play the freaking... He was the first one to play Sejuani out of everyone. Sejuani in the jungle. Okay. No Xayah Janna this time around. It's crazy how good Xayah Janna looked in the first week. And then it kind of, I don't know, looked worse and worse in some games where they got out-traded and they couldn't push the same way that they did before. I'm very curious to see like which jungler G2 are going to go for, because Rek'Sai has been the go-to choice for most players here. Kog'Maw, like picking Kog'Maw Janna in a sense is also like positive, because Samsung don't want to pick Xayah to get with Lulu. But instead they go for the Twitch. Like they could have also went for the Tristana, right? And it would have been completely fine. Samsung, they straight up just pick the top laner here and just want to hide the jungle for as long as possible. I don't know if more jungle bans are going to matter at all, and G2 should just pick the top laner like they do. I think there's so many like junglers that can be picked right now. Like there's no high tier ones, and you can just pick just about everything. There's Elise, Lee Sin, and whatever you can think of. Malzahar straight up gets banned without any bans from Samsung Galaxy used for it. So the main thing here is that Samsung, in other cases where, like in the cases that they wanted to play Malzahar, they banned Syndra and Orianna. And I think in the case where those are open, then, you know, they would have had to use their bans for it. So let's see now. Talia, Cassiopeia, Malzahar, and Lucian out. G2 could pick Syndra. Okay. I'm not too sure about this. I don't think I'm too big of a fan of this. Ryze isn't that sturdy. Like Ryze prefers to play into a lot of tanks. Sure, he can play into Kha'Zix. I mean, he can find Kazakhs too. He likes playing into Cho'Gath, but I don't know. I'm just not too big of a fan of Ryze. I think Ryze is a trap in a lot of cases. I think Ryze does very well into Galio though, so I think that's positive. I think that's something to be happy about. Holy moly, is it Zac? I don't know how good Zac is against the enemy team. Like, sure, enemy AD carry is not that mobile, but Twitch is really long range, and Lulu can cancel Zac E very easily. Okay. Alright, Zac it is. Alright, interesting. Let's go back and have the draft right here. Lulu first pick into Janna Kog'Maw, denies the enemy team from picking Xayah. They land on Twitch. I don't think that's too big of a deal. I think Lulu Twitch is also super powerful. So bot lane, I think both bot lanes should be happy. Samsung end up picking Trundle. I mean Cho'Gath, not Trundle. They don't need to pick jungle just yet because they can just wait and there's a lot of jungle options, right? So this is a situation that Samsung is happy with. They just pick Cho'Gath, force the enemy team to pick top lane third, and it's all good. They ban Rek'Sai, which they consider to be the best jungler out of all that is left, and then the rest is kind of equal. Problem with Elise is that most teams are going to end up being too AP heavy if they pick Elise, and it is not the same if the AP champions are tanks, right? They're not too reliant on dealing a lot of damage, and playing against heavy MR itemization is not something the tanks are like, oh, I'm useless now, right? They don't really care. So Elise in this meta, in a lot of cases, ends up being on full AP teams, and that's what makes Elise a lot worse. Like, she falls off even harder than she used to. She also got hit with some nerfs, right? With on her W, on her repel as well, and that matters too. So Samsung pick Kha'Zix and Galio. They can combine very well, and they also throw some AD damage into there with these two tanks. I think Ryze is one of the better picks into Galio, so I think that matters too. And you know, the main thing here for me with Zac and the pickup of Zac is that Zac is not that exciting. You know, it's really not that exciting as in this game, because it's not like, oh, Galio is going to get permaganked in mid lane, he's going to have a lot of problems. No, I really sincerely feel like that's not going to be the case. Like, Galio is pretty tanky, and he has ways of avoiding getting ganked and like, he has his E to charge away, and he's just generally hard to kill, right? So the Zac is not that exciting. And then if Zac wants to engage, he needs to land on either Kha'Zix and Twitch. Engaging on anyone else is going to be like kind of useless. And these are champions that can just hide in the dark and just you know, stay invisible and stay out of the way. You know, they're gonna open, and then sure, Zac can respond, but I feel like that is going to be a bit slow. And on top of that, like, Zac's engage can easily be cancelled by Lulu ultimate, and then Zac can be quite deep, and then Zac has to kind of like ult away unless he gets polymorphed by Lulu, of course. And I don't know, I'm not too convinced. I think it's a problem as well that Zac can get punished so hard early game, and I am not too hyped about this. And Samsung's team comp is lining up to be quite good, I think. It makes me consider if G2 should have picked, you know, if it was just better for them to pick Galio right here. If this should have been Galio, they could flex it all the way. Worst case scenario, they put it against Cho'Gath and it's going to be fine, right? And then they flex it all the way, and then they would have been the ones with the potential combo here with the Kha'Zix, right? Then worst case scenario, they would have a Zac Galio combo, like Zac Galio would combo, and it would have been like a better situation. Like, imagine if Maokai is now Galio. Like, if Maokai is Galio, then all of a sudden the Zac makes more sense. And then, like, they could have picked Ryze if they wanted to. They could have picked They could have even picked... They could have been the ones picking Kazakhs here if they had Galio here. Like they could have picked Kazakhs and they would have had this combo that Samsung have. So maybe this pickup for Maokai pickup should have been Galio, and it would have been just better for G2. Like G2 banned Galio on blue side for a reason, right? Because Galio red side is quite strong, and they just didn't pick it up. I think this would have been a lot better, and then they could pick Kazakhs here, flex it to last, and then put Galio either mid or top, and I just feel like it would have been better. But let's see now. Let's see. Like last game, Fenerbahce didn't do too much with the Galio. Like they had the potential to win the game, I would say, but it just didn't happen. I just think that with the junglers that G2 would want to play, like with the Kazakhs open and then falling onto Zach, I feel like them having Galio would mean so much. So just to compare the comps when we jump into the game. Like Kazakhs is going to look to punish Zach, that is very weak in early game. I think that Choga is going to go top, and Galio is going to be pushing mid lane early, and together with Kazakhs is going to try to create situations onto the Zach. The main thing here is that Kazakhs can always fight Zach in his jungle, because Galio can follow up with his ultimate. That's going to be a big thing we need to pay attention to. I think this is going to be an action-packed game, and everything's going to come down to what happens in mid lane. A big deal here is as well that G2 are very, very magic damage heavy. So Samsung are going to be super happy with stacking full MR, Hex Drinker, and all that jazz, you know. And the damage numbers on G2 are not going to be that high, especially since Kog'Maw is going to itemize Ginsu's. Maybe we see some kind of pivot in the build where he goes by the Ruin King first for more physical damage. I think that could be like a serious consideration. Let's see what happens. Very exciting game, G2. A lot on the line here. I think this game is going to seal the fate of G2. G2 need to reach that 4-2 scoreline, and this game is all it comes down to. Draft-wise, I think they lost. I think they lost in draft. But it's definitely winnable, right? It's like if Kog'Maw can reach like a breaking point in game, he can pop off and do amazing things, and it could be all fine. It could be all fine. But on paper, I'm not happy with the fact that they have a Zac. I'm not happy that they have full magic damage, and there's a lot of things to be unhappy about here. I'm feeling like a headache. Ooh, look at that, Perks. Holy, Perks got 4 Raptors. That is insane. Seven CS. He's triple CS of Crown, dude. He's so fucking good, man. Holy moly, he got level 2 after 4 creeps. Crazy stuff. Went for the root level 2. Alright. G2 got traded on pretty hard. That's usually the case. Janna is the pushing lane, Lulu is the trading lane. Kog'Maw doesn't push that well, right? So I think Twitch and Lulu should have an advantage early. They did leash, so they are later into the bot lane, so G2 should be in a better position to push. But looking at it now, we see Kog'Maw W is being used, Janna shield is also being used, and the trade is going in favor of Samsung. Interesting stuff, for sure. Excuse me. So they know that Kazakhs got a leash from bottom side. Kazakhs is coming from top side now to gank. Like Zach's jungle clear is like the slowest jungle clear ever. Like that's why Zac sucks now. Like he kills jungle camps. Like he's pretty much like Ivan's best friend or something. You know, he's like cuddling the jungle camps. It's just that's what sucks about Zac now. Like he just is really bad in the jungle, clear wise, and on top of that, against the team that Samsung have, Kazik, like Zac is not that exciting. Like Zac was the most OP when people were playing Orianna and these mages in mid lane that allowed Zac to just jump on them from ridiculous angles. And in this game, you know, you have a Galio in mid lane. So I'm not excited about Zac at all. I think Zac is terrible as a pick. And I think G2 botched the draft when they didn't pick Galio third. I think they should have picked Galio third, flex it to last, and should have picked Kha'Zix fourth, and then last pick mid lane / top lane. And it would have been so much better. I would have been so much happier. Instead now, Perkz with the cleanse. Perkz still has flash, gets away. Holy moly, crazy stuff. Perkz very confident in the fact that he doesn't burn his flash right off the bat. I think he's... oh, he stops his recall, okay. Why does he stop his recall like this? Like he's wasting a lot of time. I think he just wasted like 10-12 seconds there. I don't think it was necessary. Like if Ambition aimed for him at the turret, then like Ambition would have just died. Like one route from Ryze and Flash, and then he would have just died. So I don't think I need to be scared under the turret. Is Galio freezing the wave now? I guess he could. He has TP to come back, and Zac is around mid lane now. Maybe Zac will catch up in some clear speed eventually, but Zac needs a couple of levels in order to be completely effective. While Ambition was ganking mid lane, Drake did a full clear and put some wards now on the Raptor camp. Gonna spot Ambition here, and yeah, Samsung, like Zac, is going to be quite happy about this. Raptor camp is the next camp that spawns here for G2. Zac's golems got stolen away by Kha'Zix. Whoa, alright. That's okay, I guess. That's okay. Kha'Zix putting some heavy vision now on the bottom side while this is happening. He knows that Zac clear is towards Raptor camps right now. And even if he runs into Zac here, like what is the worst thing that will happen? Zac will try to trade and he's going to lose that trade, and it's going to be all good for Kha'Zix. It's not much of a risk. Kuve with the push up top, like of course Cho'Gath is going to push Maokai in the early game. Maokai is going to be able to match that later on, and that's a flash. Kuve Cho'Gath is like probably the best Cho'Gath in the world. I think it's insane Cho'Gath. Whenever Kuve is playing Cho'Gath, it's like it looks like such an OP champ. I think he plays it very well. Like you can see, he's already amounting to quite a decent CS advantage here. I don't know if Doran's shield is correct for Maokai against Cho'Gath. My instinct would be to buy Doran's ring in that matchup, because I think it's more about being mana heavy more than anything. But I might be wrong. Cho'Gath and Galio are just gonna buy a shit ton of MR this game, and I'm hoping to see like Voidstaff third for Perkz potentially. Hex Drinker on Kha'Zix is also going to be a fantastic item. Like all the damage he's going to run into is just magic damage. Bot lane seems to be like in a good save for G2. I think Kog'Maw is the one that will have to carry this game. I think Ryze is not too bad either. Like he's playing against two tanks, and I think Ryze as a champion is good into Galio. Like if you only look at Ryze into Galio, I think it's a good matchup for Ryze. I just think the Galio pick makes a lot of sense because of the MR heavy thing that they got going on, and they have not a lot of tools, but they have the Kha'Zix to jump in to create a situation where Galio ult matters a lot. The Ambition is just maintaining full vision here. He's aligning himself to take the blue buff, and he's just using the fact that he has vision already to just apply additional vision. Also the fact that he's level 6 and Zac is level 5. Samsung's bot lane with the push on bottom, we're just clearing a pink ward. I love how Samsung's bot lane is pushing. Like whenever they have push, they actually create something every time. It's very impressive to see. I think the same can be said for Kuve. Whenever they push, they actually create something every time. They are willing to commit all the way, and they're willing to walk straight to even clear a pink. And I think this is what is giving them such an easy time sometimes to get all this good vision. Kuve is doing a great job to walk in the mid. It burned the flash of Zac, and now Twitch and Dudu, they took a pink ward and they were in time bottom as well for some priority. Galio can support Kha'Zix at any time, and Galio has no flash. Ambition can just Q smite this and it should be no issue. This might be interesting here, like Kha'Zix and Galio can make some ult combinations, but this is an area that isn't like the best to commit in. Like it's fighting in this area right here is kind of awkward because G2 can always disengage and no one's gonna actually die if they force something, and they're gonna use cooldowns, and it's just not gonna be a good situation. Wolves is not even like a premium camp that you have to go for, and Ambition didn't have smite, so it's not like super clear cut. But Ambition is pretty much living in the enemy jungle, as we talked about. Galio can support this at any time. Lulu on Twitch is also doing a great job of maintaining priority in bottom. It's hard to assess like the strengths of the bot lane picks all the time because it seems to go so much back and forth. And the reasoning for G2 also to let the enemy push could be because Ambition is in position all the time to pressure this. Because let's say there was a scenario where G2 actually were pushing and they're the ones with Zac, then maybe it would look a lot different, you know. Maybe like Ambition would be able to gank bottom and it would have been harder, but then again they have Janna and Kog'Maw, so I don't feel like it's a good reasoning. And pushing bottom is something Zac can support, and Zac can create situations where he's actually useful. But as stands, you know, Twitch and Lulu are getting priority bottom. Twitch now with the base is going to come out. Now with the Hurricane is going to be able to push. And Ambition is just being super annoying. Super annoying. But the payout is not that big, right? It's like Trick is going to eventually get its Gromp heal, and Ambition is really not getting anything. The beauty of having Kha'Zix in your team as well is that, you know, Kha'Zix can actually gank these tank top laners later on in the game. Like, tank top laners are going to itemize MR most likely, sometimes Ratchet's Glory, right? And if they're itemizing MR as we can see, then Kha'Zix can just roam into top sides and pick up a free kill with the CC that the top laners provide. But Ambition now, Galio ultimates, Perks might he flash here? No, he's going to just ult. He might just flash. There's the root. Oh, G2 Perks. Alright, good stuff from G2. Good stuff. Really fantastic play here from Mithy that he's in position for this. He's supporting the play to get some priority here. And even though it doesn't matter too much that Mithy's here, he almost freaking dies even. It's still like a good thing that he is creating a man advantage. The main thing here is like, sure, Perks got a kill. Will Samsung get bot tower? Is the worth it then? Not likely. Sven is able to defend here by himself a little bit, and Janna's very fast back in bot lane again. The turret took a lot of damage, but the main thing to highlight here is Ardent Sensor is finished on Janna and it's not on Lulu. So what Samsung is going to look for is to base. They want to base on the Lulu, and it's important now for G2 to just look out for this and try to punish this as hard as they can by playing around this. If Zac plays around this, they can use the fact that Lulu Like, it's very predictable that Lulu wants to base, and they can just keep pressuring this. So Perks commits this 100%, knowing that Maokai is basing because Mithy is in the area. So this is why Mithy's play makes this good, right? He goes after this, Ambition flashes, and then eventually with Storm Raiders picks up the kill. Good stuff. Perks is a great Ryze player. Ryze is something that I've been kind of back and forth about. But I think in this game, he has 3 champions that he can easily target, and I think Ryze is quite good here. I'm just trying to think like how would the compositions pan out. Like in the case where, you know, Samsung picked Cho'Gath third, if G2 picked Galio third, and then Kha'Zix fourth, the enemy team would most likely pick Ryze. But then if you're the team with the flex Galio, you could be the one banning Ryze, right? If Ryze is the best pickup. Because like Ryze is definitely good in this game. Like, he's super happy playing against 2 tanks and Kha'Zix, and like the root can be very powerful, and as long as Ryze is hitting targets, then he's doing a lot of damage, right? His DPS outputs is really crazy, as long as he's hitting something. My headset is killing me, man. It's just killing my ass. I don't know what's up. Trick on the Zac though has gone through this phase now where he was super weak and can finally do things in fights. Ambition should be stronger than him, and especially if enemy bot lane is doing something. We can see here that Lulu Twitch managed to get a base off eventually. Let's see, look at this wave here. So Ryze needed to base, Galio with pressure in mid lane. Does he go into bottom side? Like, sure, you know, I always mention this Ardent Sensor advantage and how teams should use it, but sometimes like things just happen that just make sure so you're not allowed to do it. Like in this case, like G2's bot lane is completely blind, so they can't really contest the bottom push. They are predicting the base from Twitch and Lulu, so they just base themselves, because to be honest, like in this position, Zac was doing red buff, Ryze wanted to base because of the lack of mana and Road of Ages. They had enough gold for Ginsu's Rage Blade, so it wasn't that bad, right? Ginsu and Hurricane are items that synergize very well with Ardent Sensor. Excuse me. So Twitch and Lulu went bottom, Ardent Sensor together with Hurricane pushes the wave really fast. The main thing here about Hurricane is that it allows them to push the wave super fast, and even though Kog'Maw is quite good in the trades, let's see how it was bottom. Like Twitch and Lulu were just first. They were just first bottom. Kog'Maw and Janna were just nowhere to be found, because they base second, right? They killed the wave under the turret because they were afraid of the enemy team, and they base second. Twitch Lulu were first on bottom, they pushed the wave, and then Zac is getting caught here. Zac getting caught here doesn't matter too much, but he's taking a huge chunk of damage, which is going to force him to base, right? Which is also a problem. Kog'Maw and Janna are lining themselves up to push the next wave, and with the lack of vision here in mid lane, like Ambition got spotted on the crab, so that's positive. But with Zac being forced to base, it gives pressure to Kha'Zix. He can keep control of the river. Kuve is also here. Expect has TP to respond. I'm thinking with Spirit Visage, Expect should be able to push here. Okay, that's the route. No flash on Ambition. No flash on Ambition. But no flash on Ryze either. A lot of damage from Crown. Okay. Oh, Ambition is taking turret shots. Oh, okay. Interesting. Let's take a step back here. Kazakhs is pretty deep. The main thing here is that Kuve is in position to battle this. This is why he is playing quite deep. We can see Lulu moving in too, but Jana is walking bottom together with Kog'Maw to defend the turret. Turret bottom is very, very low. Ambition dies to the tower. Okay. TP from Expect though. Like, didn't really do anything. Ambition died to the tower. TP from Expect was definitely not necessary. Top wave was in good position though. But that was like the sacrifice that Kuve committed to. He just went into mid lane to coordinate a play here together with his team. This time around it didn't work, but usually I like what Samsung do here, where they sometimes just give up a wave top just to create, like, to coordinate pressure. They do this at good timings because they do it with timings where it is a situation where they coordinate it together with Ambition's play. So Kuve is leaving top when Kha'Zix is around mid lane to create a play on Perks. This time around it didn't work out. G2 found Kha'Zix, sniffed him out because he was standing on a ward, and G2 are now in a fantastic state for the game. This is a good state for them. Like, Ryze is getting very fed, and he's going to be able to deal with his tanks even easier, and that means his voice staff is going to come up earlier online. Here we see the situation again, and the flash from Trick here. Zac has reached the point where he's actually really useful, and considering they have Zac and the enemy team has the Kha'Zix, they should be very happy with being ahead 1000 gold here. Now the main question is for G2 is how do they solve the situation here in bottom, that they are in fact getting pressured here constantly, and the way I would do it is to just play through mid lane into bottom side, and then you know, maintain this pressure around mid lane, because right now finally Zac has reached a point where he's useful, and Perks is very fed here. I like that Ninja Tabi. You could argue that Mercs is good against Galio and Cho'Gath, but he has the cleanse for that, and you know, the main damage he's going to take is going to be from that Twitch and that Kha'Zix. These are the main damage dealers, so I like this item choice. And Ambition now, once again, he's gonna die again. Alright, didn't happen, but he was forced to ultimate. Galio ultimate was off of cooldown. And Perks is gonna go back mid lane to pick up his level 12 most likely here. No level 12 from Perks. Perks is really low mana, so maybe Galio can use this timing to create something. If anything, then Samsung have a window here to pressure into top. If they want to just pressure into top and maybe create a gank here on Expect. Because looking at G2, they are in base, and most likely they will lose bottom tower, and that's eventually going to happen. But I want to pay attention to G2's bot lane and what actually happened here. Seems like Samsung is just perma pushing, and yeah, eventually G2 just had to give it up because the turret was too low. Was equalizing the gold though. Kog'Maw is showing up top, so Lulu and Twitch will most likely just match this. You know, a big thing here as well is that you know, I wanted to check if the TP from Cho'Gath is the deciding factor here, but you know, right now there's a Cho'Gath TP that makes this a bit more dangerous, but they had priority in mid lane, so they could walk in and chunk the Kha'Zix, but now the TP comes into play. There's a ward behind them. That is pink warded though, so I think the pink ward spots this ward. Yeah, it kills it. No, the Cho'Gath TP is not impacting bot lane too much. They're just basing and walking top, and just accepting that they lose the tower. I think that's fine to do. Cutting your losses is completely fine. Because like, Ryze needs to base. Zac has, I had only 400 gold, so it wasn't a big deal for Zac to base. But the fact that Ryze needs to base will allow Samsung to like pressure through mid lane to bottom for sure. And I think it's fine that G2 committed to basing, because they actually base together. So now at least, even though they lost the bottom tower, they're out on the map together. Bottom, they're going to miss some CS because they don't have TP on Maokai. So right now in the current timing window, they have an advantage in terms of tempo, but they're using this tempo for Maokai to clear bottom wave. So it's hard for them to just start an objective because Kuve here is in position because there's no bot wave for him. But generally speaking, Kuve has TP as well. So even if he was bottom, this would have been a fine situation. I don't think like G2 Maokai is in mid lane now. So maybe if they get in position here, they can contest the Rift Herald. But the main problem is at the same time, you know, Twitch and Lulu were pushing top, and G2 were already like grouping up. And now with them walking topside, G2 is in a really, really bad position now for the Rift Herald. But it got interrupted, so they're happy with this outcome. I thought that Samsung would just continue to do it here, because after, like right now, looking at top, this wave is dead, and Kog'Maw and Janna need to walk up here. And then they should just continue doing Rift Herald, and with the fact that Janna is stuck here and she needs to walk around to group with Kog'Maw. Like Kog'Maw and Janna are stuck under the turret, and then you have G2's player stuck on this side. But maybe G2 could use some fancy Rise teleports to put themselves in a group situation. But generally speaking, it just looks like a free Rift Herald here for me, because of the top wave walking in now, Kog'Maw, Janna needing to go top, and these two characters here could have continued to hitting Rift Herald. It would be about 6k HP now. Lulu and Twitch come in now, and I think it could have been taken for sure. Maokai now with the TP off of cooldown, he's going to push this in. And I feel like this situation is now slightly better for G2, but G2, you know, Perks is burning his mana a bit too much maybe. He's doing this knowing that he's going to get blue buff, but his mana numbers are really, really low. And he's going to use a lot of mana on the next wave as well. And it makes G2's move very predictable, because right now he really needs blue buff, because Perks doesn't want to contest this with his low mana pool. So it's just going to blue buff, and it makes it very predictable for Samsung. But imagine a scenario now where Rise had mana and didn't have this mana issue, and then 100% G2 would be able to contest this, because Maokai's position on the bottom wave is just perfect for him to fight, and Cho'Gath would be in awkward position. But the lack of mana was the main objective here for Samsung, and they spotted it, and they just made use of it by taking the Rift Herald. Seems to me as if G2 are happy with this game being stalled out a little bit. Rift Herald being used in mid lane, Kog'Maw being stuck up top. Samsung in general are having priority all across the board, and I feel like that's an issue for them. I feel like they need to put Rise on side lane and put Kog'Maw, Janna in mid lane, and maybe like that they can get priority. But right now it just doesn't seem to work. Like G2 are not as weak in the 5v5, and Rise is in a good state of the game, but Samsung is just pressuring the entire map at the same time. Like sure, bottom doesn't matter too much. Bottom is like, oh, who cares? Bottom is bottom. We can ignore that. But Twitch and Lulu seem to have priority over Kog'Maw, Janna the entire time. And then with this in mind, they're controlling River, and when they're controlling River, they're also transitioning this pressure into mid lane very convincingly. And it's not like Rise and Zac win super hard in mid lane 2v2, right? Because this Galio has so much MR, he's unkillable at this point. Like they cannot touch his HP at all. It would be interesting if Perks just went like straight Void Staff right now, and maybe then he could do something to these tanks. Because this is the issue for me when it comes to G2 right now, is that the effectiveness of MR is massive on Samsung's side, and you know, the same could be said for Ninja Tabi, right? But I don't know. And there's the Void Staff from Perks. Maybe finally now he can actually chew through this Galio, even though this Galio is super tanky anyway. Like he can maybe chew through this, and maybe the 2v2 in mid lane is going to look slightly different. Okay. Alright. How do G2 get pressure? Main quest here. Rise is doing a little bit of damage to Galio now at least. Samsung now with full control over river, keep pressuring into top. Can't really dive top yet, but the main thing here is that they can also just rotate into top side jungle, clear top wave, and then rotate into mid. There's no mid tower though, so there's not that much to take for them there. It's hard to make the play when the top outer tower to push in top and then rotate into mid lane when outer tower is up. It's a lot easier. Like the sequence of killing turrets, like if both teams are playing correct macro, right, the sequence usually for killing turrets is like first a side lane tower dies, then the other side lane tower dies, and then you push in all the way, and then you can rotate into mid lane in a good path, and the enemy needs to walk around, right? The same thing can be said at top, and usually you take the outer towers first, and then you can cut off the rotation into mid, because imagine this scenario, right? While the enemy team is defending this and then rotating into mid, the rotation into mid is not that bad, right? Like if you compare these two lines, the rotation into mid, following into mid is not too terrible. So usually what you want to do, or what happens naturally in most games, is that the outer towers fall first, right? And then when they fall, you push in all the way, and then you rotate into mid, you push in all the way, you rotate into mid, and then you have better rotation than the enemy. Well, they are forced to take this curve path, right? Same with outer towers. First these fall, and then you push up all the way, you get a better rotation, and then the enemy team needs to go around, right? It's the same thing across the board. But with Rift Herald it changes a lot, right? Rift Herald changes a lot of things, and Rift Herald allows teams to take mid lane towers a lot easier, and that has been like the main thing that Rift Herald has opened up a lot more for. Ninja Tabi on, I mean, Last Whisper already on Twitch. He's predicting everyone to buy a lot of armor, and everyone has Ninja Tabi already, so it's cost efficient wise. It's not that bad. Red buff ready to go on Kog'Maw. MR is going to, like, adaptive helmet is going to be huge here. Does a lot of work against Kog'Maw's things. Perks is doing some good trading with the Twitch. I don't know what I think about Trick's play here. He's jumping into Crown, and that's the taunt. Ooh. Ambition. Wow. Holy Christ. Let's take a look at this again. I feel like Trick is being quite reckless and crazy with what he's doing. Like, what is the plan here? He's committing, and then G2 are in such a awkward position here where they are committing. They don't know where Twitch is. Well, they see Twitch in mid lane, so that's not really true. But Ruler gets to open. Holy shit. Ah, just Crown is hitting this 3-man taunt. It's just too big. And I think Trick, they're committing on Crown, but they don't have any CC to lock him down right now. They have the root from perks. Maybe the root could have landed here already, and it would have been a bit better. But the fact that he hits a 3-man taunt is just game changing. And maybe the issue is that they're kiting upwards towards Ambition instead of kiting in this direction. Because if they kited in this direction, then they are more grouped with perks, and maybe the root would have actually come down on Galio, so he couldn't flash when he Ws. I think that could be like an issue, like W from Rise, and then I feel like they should have kited in this direction together with Rise, because now they're kiting into Kha'Zix, and then the 3-man taunt lands, and if they maybe use this space a bit better and kited towards this direction, it would have been a lot better. I think the route from Perks could have also been very important. Okay. Holy moly. Sven dies and Ambition... Holy shit, Ambition lives. Ambition fucking lives. Can Perks get anything done here? He's like super healthy. He's not doing enough damage on... Whoa. Holy moly. Zaxxay is also getting chased down by the Righteous Glory into Feast. And there he goes. He doesn't get eaten, but I think the small one is going to get eaten. Oh, it doesn't even get eaten. And that's a Nasher for Samsung. I don't know. I just felt like there was this massive issue for G2 that they couldn't get priority anywhere. Let's see now if... oh, it's not even a Nasher. They managed to stop this. Perks is fucking playing out of his fucking mind. This fucking Rise, man. Look at him. Look at him go. He's just everywhere. He's just bouncing back and forth. Perks is playing insanely well. Like Perks is shouldering the game right now. He's shouldering the game big time. He's running back and forth, taking 0 damage, and he's playing beautifully, man. He's playing so good. But Galio is buying even more MR. Like, just going out of base with no magic mantles. Like, look at the amount of MR he has. Look at the amount of MR he has. It's crazy. It's crazy stuff how much MR he has. Crazy stuff. Like, how much is this? Pause. Okay. What is happening, man? No, the question still remains, like, how do G2 actually pressure? I don't know. Look at that mouse pad of Sven just taking over the entire table. Holy moly. You could, like, you know, keep a city warm with this mouse pad. Oh shit, it's massive. Oh, Sven with the bling. Sven with the bling. Watch. Good shit. What is it? Razor gear? It looks like Razor gear. Sponsored by a broker shard. Okay, I think it's a good time for a break for me. It's important now for G2 to fight in open spaces, because the way this went down, you know, right here, the 3-man taunt was just too massive, way too big, and the engagement they did on Galio, or the attempt of catching Galio here, was just horrible. Ambition had too good of a position here to commit into this. G2 should have been in this area, right here, and that should have been it, you know. I think this engage from Trick is way too desperate. Maokai is fighting Cho'Gath, and I'm not too sure about what they want to accomplish here. Let's see now, let's continue. The only way I see G2 getting pressure is like if they're grouped as 4 and they play through mid lane and they just make sure that they are in open spaces, and then maybe like when Twitch shows they try to engage on them, and it's going to be a better situation for them. I thought like for sure they just get Nasher now and it's going to be fine. Ambition was quite low on HP, but then he runs into the Rise again, and Perks with the movement, like look at Perks, he just is running after the enemy, dodging every spell. Like Perks he deserves a fucking medal. Like he's playing insanely well on this Rise. Crazy good, crazy good. Loving what I see. Is this a real map? Is this like interactive at all? This map in the middle? Doesn't look like it. The stage looks insane, by the way. The stage is like insanely beautiful. The statue stuff going on in the background is looking insane. Of course, Worlds in China, they need to bust out the big money. You know, everyone's talking about Chinese esports money, man. They need to go in huge, and this is just the group stage. All right. Holy shit, this is a long ass pause. Alright, we're back at it again. Blade Rune King buy on Sven. I don't know if buying Blade Rune King would be just better if he just went for it first instead of Ginsu. I really don't know. But I think it's worth considering, right? Like there's a lot of beefy people on enemy team, and Blade Rune King would actually make a big difference when it comes to hitting this Galio that has full MR, hitting this Cho'Gath that has full MR. Sure, his Righteous Glory for that armor, but generally speaking, full MR. Like, my point is that if Righteous Glory had MR, he would have bought it too, you know? The armor on Righteous Glory is not what makes him buy Righteous Glory. Abyssal Mask also popping off. Really like the Executioner's Calling. I really forget the names of these items. The Last Whisper. I know one is called Lord Dominic's Regard. I like the purchase here because it's good against Thousand Sensor, good against Redemption, really good against Zac, really good against Maokai as well. So let's look at the situation once again. Maokai is up top side, Ryze is on bottom side, Nashor is the name of the game. Now right now Ryze is nowhere to be seen. I think he's clearing like a pink ward here, and now he's walking towards top side. And holy shit, Trick just this Trick just punched the flower and just pushed himself into the dragon pit while doing so. Galio's up top lane, Cho'Gath's going bottom. They're playing the game now where Twitch and Lulu are getting priority in mid, and Galio's getting priority top. I think Ryze should just match the Galio and try to DPS him down, while Kog'Maw and Janna go mid lane. The main issue here is that Twitch and Lulu have a mid tower, and Kog'Maw and Janna don't. So it's going to be hard for them to get priority in mid lane against the Twitch and Lulu, because whenever Twitch is missing, then there's the potential that he engages, and he has so much more space to work with because the mid tower is gone for G2. Important thing now for G2 is to just make sure that they send the Maokai into bottom, and then just match the Ryze with the Galio up top. I think also what G2 need to do is to sacrifice a bit of CS top, sacrifice that efficiency, to make sure that they seize those opportunities where they can group up as 4 in mid lane to also create some pressure. When Blade Rune King hits, we're going to see like a difference for the DPS output for Kog'Maw on these tanks. It's going to be a big difference, to be honest, and the fact that the enemy team can buy so much MR is a difficulty for Ryze. This is definitely a problem. Flash from Mithy, Kuvi roaming from bottom. No one's caring about bottom. Bottom now with the big wave. Maybe Samsung can use this for something. Seems like they're going to try to maybe dive mid lane. Maokai's bottom. Galio's not in position to ult. Galio's at the same time pushing up top. Will they go for another wave? Looks like it. He has also punching a pink ward. Samsung is not going to abuse the bottom wave for something. I don't think they could have used it for anything either. There is one issue here for G2 is that they have only a blue trinket on Nashor. If Samsung cleared it, then maybe the situation look a bit different, but Samsung is trying to contest the entire vision, and whoa. Maybe Mithy just needs to ult this for the heal. I think it's a legit strategy to just ult this for the heal. Redemption works too, I guess. Sven is now full HP, Redemption is OP. The tank damage now on Kuvi is actually working out. Holy moly. Holy Kog'Maw. Look at the Kog'Maw damage. Fervor is doing work, man. Kuvi is just getting smashed. Crown is in a bad position as well. If Sven can just hit this, there's a flash on Crown. Okay. Good situation for G2. Great situation for G2. I want to take a look here again. Like, DPS output on Kuvi is actually like legit here. Holy moly. Sven, did he finish his blade? He didn't finish his blade, right? But the 80 damage from Sven, ooh. Good stuff from Sven. Okay. So Kuve is low. Crown no flash. Crown still has his ultimate. Ambition also has the potential to jump in with Galio ultimate. Kuve can flash back into this situation. Twitch has no ultimate, and Twitch ultimate is really, really huge. I don't know, man. Is this viable what they're doing here? I don't know if I'm too big of a fan. Like, sure, they don't take damage from it, and like Perks is really low on HP. Like, if he just gets feasted here by Cho'Gath, then he's dead. So I'm really uncertain here if this is legitimate. They're managing to go for the engage on Crown. Crown gets a taunt off. Crown is super tanky though, it doesn't take too much damage. The Ardent Sensor on Perks. I don't know. This just felt like it was super risky. I think the play for G2 was that he just wanted to turn, but I don't know. Perks is playing out of his mind. Like, he's playing so crazy aggressive with his low health, but he seems so confident in the ability to dodge all these spells, because if he just gets hit by something and oh! What happened here? Why would they go towards here? Why would they do this? They lost the mid tower already. The mid tower is gone. Shit. Like, the mid tower is gone. That's why this play is so strange. Because when you commit to Baron, what you give up, like when you commit to Baron and if the enemy team forces you off, you are completely cut off from it. Like, this is Samurai Sword. You know, you're cut off from mid lane. Then the enemy team will go into mid, they will use the wave to push mid tower, and that is the trade-off, right? That is always going to be the trade-off. And this cutoff that I painted on the map is like, you know, it's legit. This is my Samurai Sword. You know, it's a legit cutoff because the enemy team will have priority into this space and you just have to give it up. And what G2 needed to do after they committed to this crazy play, I don't think this was necessary. Like, it was an attempt, right? And it forced Kuve to TP. So that was like the positive effect. They chunked Crown. Maybe they could have killed him in some other world. Maybe in the future they could. But right now, they lost mid tower. And they just need to accept it. Mid tower is gone. G2 need to like take a long path around into mid. The awkward thing here is if G2... Like, because of their play, I drew the line. Because of their play, the decision for them is really strange. Because the moment they go for the defensive play into mid lane, Samsung will push all the way, and then they will just walk towards Nash, and they will be the one starting Nasher. And G2 will have to phase check through all the space, and it's just a really hard situation that I think G2 put themselves in. I think this Nasher call was absolutely horrible. The more and more I think about it, the more and more I can recognize that it was terrible. So, once again, this side of the map is cut off. Is G2 going to take the long path around into mid lane? If they do, Perks is still low HP. Like, Perks can maybe base and then G2 walk into mid lane. During this time when the enemy team, like G2 is walking into mid lane, Samsung can just start walking towards Baron, start it, and they can kill it quite fast themselves too. So I don't know about this. Like, the G2's play to go into Nasher is just terrible in every way. And right now, you know, there's no way G2 is going to defend mid tower, and it looks like Sven is going to go and do that, and he just gets one-shotted. And that's a big problem here. Like, with the death of Kog'Maw, I think Samsung should be able to pick up Nasher, right? Should be Nash. Like, they don't have enough damage to kill anyone right now. So without Kog'Maw, it should be... Like, to be honest, Perks managed to stop the Baron alone, so maybe I'm wrong here, but Cho'Gath has Feast, and the Baron's already pretty low. Whoa! Holy shit! That was fucked up close. Fucked up close. The Baron was at 2 HP, man. Holy shit, man. Best of one, man. Best of one. Imagine if Trick just fucking stole the Nashor here. It would have been game changing, man. Baron is at 2 health. Holy moly. Okay. Craziness. Shit, man. Wow. It's so crazy to think about it, you know. It's like, you know, shit, it's like rolling a dice, man. It's like you're just taking another card at a hard 16, you know. Playing blackjack, you take another card at hard 16 against dealer 10 because you just have to, because your odds are shit. And that was like, you hit a 20, man. You hit a 20, but the dealer hit the 21. That was so lucky. Crazy how lucky it was, you know. The dealer hit blackjack here. Kuve feasted. He feasted at fucking 2k. He feasted at fucking, he feasted at 2 damage. 2 health he got the feast off. Mother. Holy moly. Alright, let's see now how Samsung, how much they can get off of this advantage now. Kog'Maw should have an easier time to kill those tanks, but it's just that Twitch is reaching a status now that is maybe uncontrollable. I think what G2 need to look for is to try to punish the lack of flash here for Twitch. A big thing for Twitch as well is he's not the best AD to hit turrets. Even he has a long range, right, but he needs to use his ultimate, and it's going to be kind of hard for Samsung to break the base of G2, right? I feel like Samsung kind of need to put themselves in a situation where they dive and they just ulted straight up and got sent to very, very low health numbers. And now they are moving on to the bot lane after clearing the mid wave. And even though like Twitch use ultimate, he's going to have some downtime here. And I think this is the time for G2 to fight, if anything. They should just try to fight here. Zac is ulting. Whoa, he's not getting anything. That's his juke. Insane Rise play that they are sending in the Maokai with the ultimate. And holy shit, Kubi is taking a lot of damage. He has no armor. He has some armor, right? He has some armor of Righteous Glory and stone plate, so it's a little bit, you know, it's enough, but he took a lot of damage there from Kog'Maw, a lot of damage. And I like the fact that G2 recognized that they could engage in this scenario, but the game is going so crazy. Like during this entire time where G2 could engage and they're trying to, like the Twitch ultimate doesn't pay off that well, and during this time where G2 decide to clear bottom wave, I think the issue here is that they're committing so many people when maybe they should have just committed Rise to clear this wave. G2 are committing with the entire team here, and then they're walking to top side, and this is giving Samsung a lot of time to hit the top tower, right? It's because G2 is walking from bottom up here, and Twitch is getting a lot of hits. The Zaki doesn't land on Twitch, which could have been quite clutch. Like here, you know, here the crazy part is that Twitch is in the mix. Like Twitch is right here, man. It could have ended horribly for him, but the Zaki doesn't land on him. Like the Zaki is coming here. Like Twitch is working with a lot of movement speed with the Lulu W, right? So it's not that easy of a feat. But the big issue here is, to me, is that they send too many people to defend the Galio tower. And now they're walking bottom, and the same thing's gonna happen. Like Kubi is gonna TP in, and Samsung will just almost get another tower here. But the movement speed of Lulu is just enough for Twitch to get away from Zac. Twitch ult is coming off of cooldown, and G2 are just struggling to get the engage off. And Twitch with Lulu W seems to be enough to just dodge the Zaki and then just get away. The Twitch ult now. Turret fallen. G2 need to take this fight. I feel like they have open inhibitors, no Twitch ultimate, and Samsung are just backing off. Next Ocean is up. I don't know how much work Ocean actually did there. Like Samsung was just perma regenerating, and maybe Ocean Drake was actually really useful there. I'm not too sure how much it mattered. Really not sure. Because this is something I wasn't paying attention to, and it's not really something I feel like going back for. I think the main issue there was that G2 just committed too many people for the Galio. I think that was a big problem. So what is the play now for G2? I don't know. I really don't know. I feel like Twitch has like reached critical mass, and with all these inhibitors down, Samsung can get an even deeper position, and they can actually look to engage. G2 just need to find like good targets with the Zac, and I like the play with the Rise TPN on the Maokai, and I feel like they just need to try something similar to try to deal with this Twitch. Because right now the big issue is that Twitch can hit Kog'Maw and Kog'Maw can't hit Twitch, so no one can really deal with Twitch. Like Twitch is going to outtrade Kog'Maw in every auto attack trade. So as long as Twitch is playing far forward and trading, oh, there's the Zaki. Ruler no flash. Ruler is doing so much damage. Twitch ult is off. No one is dying. Zac is dead. Maokai is dead. Holy shit, Perks is playing so well though. Flash from Sven. Oh, Tracer is dead. Not Tracer, I mean Ruler. Okay. Alright. Perks is fucking MVP, man. Look at him. Look at him go here. Holy shit, look at this fucking Q that he just bounced off of everyone. Holy shit, look at that. He E'd, and then he E'd Crown again for the double stack, and then he Q'd him to get the proc for movement speed. Gets the Storm Raider as well, and then he flashes, and then Crown doesn't tank the Q. Doesn't tank the Q. Let's take a step back and just analyze this entire team fight. Alright. So it starts off with I think it's Ambition that jumps into Gali ultimate. No, it's a Zaki that gets cancelled by Wild Growth. So Wild Growth gets used at a good time, cancels Zac. Zac doesn't have enough time to ult out to do anything. He just gets one-shotted, and the small parts of him are still left. And Twitch is just doing massive amount of damage to the front line. And Kog'Maw is really struggling here to hit anything useful at all, because as long as Twitch has ultimate, he can't really walk up, because the moment Twitch is getting autoing the Kog'Maw, it's hard for him to just stay in the fight. So Sven is doing the best thing he can. Like, it's hard for him to do much else. So right now Samsung are winning the DPS race big time, because everyone needs to run away from the fact that Twitch is killing everybody. So the moment Twitch uses ultimate, everyone just needs to fucking run, because he just kills everything that he touches, right? And then this happened, Mithy survives with very low HP, and then finally Ratata is off, and Sven could finally get some hits off. Wait, what was this flash? What was the flash from Sven? Oh, okay, from Choga Q. Alright. Respectable. And then Perks with the... Look at this. Like, he E's Galio, and then he E's him again to apply E on everybody, and then Q, and it bounces off everybody. And then now he has a good angle now on Ruler. Holy shit, Perks is insane. Perks is amazing on Rise, man. This is best Rise in the world gameplay right now. This is crazy stuff. And then they managed to defend their base, but with 2 inhibitors down, you know, it's looking quite grim. Samsung now, let me see the power of triple Ocean Drake. It's not looking too fancy. Like, Ambition is regening quite a lot of HP, but doesn't look too fancy. This is what G2 need to hope for. They just need to hope that Zaki lands on Twitch now. He has flash up, and You know, if Core JJ is ready with his wild growth, you know, it's so hard to imagine. You know, I complained a lot in draft about G2's Zac pick, and I just don't think it's good. I just don't think G2 the draft was good. Perks champion is good against Galio and such, but you know, more than that, you know, I think they should have been the ones picking Galio, and it would have been in a better situation, a lot better situation. G2 had to give up Nashor because Super Creeps were storming their base and they just couldn't get any vision, and it would have taken a lot of time for them, and Nashor was already spawning while they were fighting. I think it was like 20 seconds before spawn and they were fighting. So there was no way that G2 would contest that Nashor, and G2 just need to hope for a fight now. They just need to hope for the best when it comes to a fight, and you know, it's all about killing Ruler now. Maokai goes in. That's a Zac as well. Holy moly. Ruler has flash. Zac is getting taken down. Twitch still has ultimate, so that's really, really important. If he opens now and just opens on the carries in the back line, good route now from Expect. It's the best thing he could do. Ratatat is now off cooldown. Now it's the time to shine for Sven. He can actually get some autos off on Ruler without him trading back because of the range advantage. Ambition is going for the boring play, he's going for the bottom inhib. It's so rare that teams actually win with 3 inhibitors down. Janna ultimate gets used to peel the Galio. Very tough situation for G2. I can't help but feel that they got outdrafted in this game. Holy moly. Perks though. Perks, what a fucking amazing game he played. Holy moly. You know, it was hard. You know, it's still not over. I shouldn't be like this, but Twitch is quite low. Maybe G2 can defend to live another day. Like, they have good champions to kill super creeps, right? Kog'Maw with Hurricane and Ryze, they kill super creeps quite well. But Samsung have Baron for another 1 minute and 50 seconds. They also regen a lot with these Ocean Dregs that they got going off. The main thing here also is... Oh! Really? Okay. Shit. Okay, Ambition also dying. Can G2 do something about Elder when Ambition is dead? I don't know. I really don't know. It's like with triple inhib, you know, Ryze and Kog'Maw, they killed the creeps quite well, you know. They killed the creeps really fucking well with these picks. I'm surprised we don't see more of Malmortius already on Twitch. I don't know how necessary the QSS is, but of course it helps against the Maokai, helps against the Ryze route, and if he gets out of these CC things, then the Lulu speed kicks in and he can get away. Ambition now, like Maokai is in base with the TP, Ambition is not here. G2, maybe they can just get the freaking Elder Dragon. So important as well that one inhib is spawning, because it actually means so much, because all of a sudden 2 super creeps are not spawning on every lane. G2 have the smite now and the feast. Oof! Holy moly. But this was like the best play they could have gone for, right? This is the best play they could have gone for. They're not gonna kill Kuve, and they just have to kill Elder Dragon as fast as possible. And to be honest, this is the best bet they can go for. Best bet for sure. But now, right now, the issue is like they're gonna have their recalls cancelled. Ryze is in base already, but Samsung are going for the mid lane inhib. Maybe they're going for the flank on these 3 people that got left behind. G2 need to fight against 4 Dragon and Elder Dragon. It's just impossible, right? It's just impossible. Holy moly, Perks is just gonna get one-shotted. It's not one-shotted, but he's taking a lot of damage here. Oh! Perks with the flash play. Nah, this Twitch is doing so much damage, man. It's too much, it's too much. Oof. Crazy game though, crazy game. Like, it's, you know, we have to think for a second that, you know, we need to appreciate how close it was for G2. It was really, really close, because imagine how different this game would have looked if Zac just stole the Nashor. You know, it was this big, massive mistake, you know, in mid lane. Tricks engage in mid lane, that was a problem. It was that one time where they actually got a good fight, where they killed Kuve, And then they started Nasher, that was also terrible. They wanted to try to walk into mid lane. Didn't happen because Kha'Zix caught Sven and Sven died, and that led into a Nasher that Trick almost stole. He almost stole it, like the Nasher survived with 2 HP. And that is crazy to think about. Really, really fucked up to think about. And with that in mind, with that just echoing in our memory while we think about this, 2 HP, and then G2 would have actually gotten Nasher. And then you have this Elder Dragon play where G2 had to go for it. They had to go for it because they didn't have time. They had to go for it because if they don't take this opportunity while Ambition is dead, they're never going to get that opportunity. And then when the enemy team is going to have Elder Dragon and 4 dragons, then the game is going to be over regardless. So they have to try to go for that smite situation. And like Cuvée won, obviously, Cuvée won. Maybe they could have bursted differently, or maybe they could have bursted together with Kog'Maw, but all Kog'Maw spells are all projectiles, so it's easily predictable. Maybe if anything, I don't know, maybe he could... I really don't know how they could have coordinated that to be better. Cho'Gath Feast also does more damage than Smite, so that's also a problem. And going for that play is the best thing they could have done. I don't think you can fault them for that. It was by far the best thing they could have done. And after that, like Samsung with Elder Dragon 3 inhibs, there's just no chance that G2 is going to bounce back. And I think that ends the story of G2's kind of play at Worlds. They're going to have a losing scoreline against Samsung. And of course, like if RNG lose against Fenerbahce, then it becomes interesting. Like then maybe G2 can tie break against them, but is that gonna happen? I doubt it. In a tiebreaker, Samsung against G2, Samsung wins because they're 0-2, right? But Samsung is even 4-1 now, so it doesn't matter. Like Samsung is 4-1, so there's no way G2 catches up to that. RNG is 3-1 currently. And RNG has 2 games left. One against Fenerbahce that's coming after this, and then RNG versus Samsung. So I guess if RNG loses all their matches, then G2 stays in it. But if it doesn't happen, then G2's journey is over. Okay, let's check out the next game. G2 did some mistakes. I think the main problem for them was draft. Too magic damage heavy. They could have taken away the Galio for themselves. Set up a good scenario where Galio is really strong. G2 also recognized the strength of Galio on red side by banning it on blue side. And I think their draft was weaker. And their play was weaker in some stages of the game. But it could have been for sure. Let's move on to the next match.